For Pacifica Radio, I'm Christina Onnested. Flooding caused by a destroyed dam is expected to peak today as tens of thousands of people are evacuated out of Ukraine. More than 40 villages and towns are projected to be flooded. It also threatens Europe's largest nuclear power plant. Representatives from Ukraine and Russia blame each other for the dam's breach. The United Nations Security Council held a hearing on the issue Tuesday. William Denislow reports.
Addressing a UN Security Council meeting, Ukraine's representative accused Russia of ecological and technological terrorism. Moscow's UN representative accused Ukraine of committing an unthinkable crime to divert attention from a failing counteroffensive. At least 16,000 people have lost their homes, with thousands more without safe drinking water. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres says the dam's destruction is a humanitarian catastrophe, but the dam's destruction is ultimately the consequence of Russia's war in Ukraine.
We have all seen the tragic images coming out today of the monumental humanitarian, economic and ecological catastrophe in the Kherson region of Ukraine. The United Nations has no access to independent information on the circumstances that led to the destruction of the Kakhovka hydroelectric power plant dam. But one thing is clear. This is another devastating consequence of the Russian invasion of Ukraine.
William Denslow, New York.
More than 400 wildfires are scorching Canada from western provinces east to Quebec, and they're spreading smoke across much of the U.S., triggering air quality alerts for New England. New York City schools are restricting outdoor activities. Officials as far as Maryland, Baltimore, Virginia, and Pennsylvania have reported hazy skies from the wildfires. Fine particle pollution is small enough to get past airway defenses and cause breathing problems. Lauren Wold, an associate dean at Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center.
Levels that people, if they were to be outside, especially if they're exercising, breathing faster, they're going to be inhaling particulates at concentrations that normal smokers would inhale. So days like today are days when people with pre-existing health conditions should really stay inside.
Smoke is worse in Canada, where international teams of firefighters are helping to battle the blazes that have been burning since late last month. Some remain out of control. Others have been contained. Police say 2 people were killed, 5 more wounded, including one in critical condition in a mass shooting after a high school graduation ceremony in Virginia's capital last night. The 2 slain were a father and a son who just graduated. Police say the alleged 19-year-old shooter knew them, is in custody, and will be charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder. The shooting caused widespread panic as people fled the scene. A 9-year-old girl was hit by a vehicle in the chaos. The Gun Violence Archives reports 279 mass shootings in the U.S. so far this year. A white Florida woman accused of fatally shooting her black neighbor last week was arrested Tuesday. The Marion County Sheriff's Office said 58-year-old Susan Louise was arrested on charges of manslaughter with a firearm, culpable negligence, battery, and 2 counts of assault in the death of Ajike Owens, a black mother of 4. The arrest follows community outrage and pressure for accountability, despite Florida's divisive Stand Your Ground law. Max Pringle reports.
Susan Lawrick allegedly shouted racial slurs at Ajika Owens' children for playing on a grass area outside her apartment in Ocala, Florida. Residents of the apartment building say the landlord does allow kids to play there. The deadly incident apparently escalated when Lawrick kept an iPad left by the children and a pair of roller skates, and when they tried to get them back, she threw them and struck one of the kids. That's when Ajika Owens went to confront the neighbor. Pamela Diaz is Ajika Owens' mother.
She knocked on a closed, locked door. Door never opened.
No.
My daughter, my grandchildren's mother, was shot and killed. She had no weapon. She posed no imminent threat to anyone.
Angela Farrell Zabala is executive director of the gun control group Moms Demand Action. She released a statement condemning Florida's so-called Stand Your Ground laws, which allow a person to use deadly force when faced with a perceived threat. Quote, Stand Your Ground laws and the shoot-first culture they instill continue to put black people and other people of color in danger. For KPFA News, I'm Max Pringle.
The Human Rights Campaign has declared a state of emergency for LGBTQ+ people in the U.S. Catherine Carley has more.
Citing more than 500 anti-LGBTQ bills in more than a dozen states this year. The Human Rights Campaign has declared a state of emergency for LGBTQ people in the U.S. President Kelly Robinson says violence has become a lived reality for her community.
It's fueled by nearly unfettered access to guns, political extremism, and rhetoric that is deliberately devised to make our community less safe, less equal, and less free.
Robinson says at least 76 bills have become law. I'm Catherine Carley for Pacifica Network and Public News Service.
Former Vice President Mike Pence announced his bid for presidency today. I'm Christina Onnested reporting for Pacifica Radio.